Hello, I'm Jo, and welcome to the Midlife Entrepreneur podcast, a new show that's all about building a business in midlife. My guest this week is Kirsty, an Instagram specialist and founder of Rebuildagram, a social media training business that helps brands to use Instagram more creatively in order to grow their businesses. With over 12 years in PR and communications herself, she set up Rebuildagram when the pandemic hit, helping many of the more traditional businesses transition to digital selling and support their social media journey. Since then, Kirsty has worked with hundreds of clients and was named TechPixie's Social Media Provider of the Year in 2023. She's also the co-founder of Rockstars, which she set up with friend Andie McDowell to help businesses master Reels, Instagram's short-form video format. Together, they've trained over 2,000 accounts via online courses and group workshops, and worked with brands such as Hauser & Wirth, as well as journalists and influencers such as Sophie Robinson, Michelle Agundahan, Lorraine Candy, and Trish Halpin. At the end of last year, their business was shortlisted for Service Business of the Year at the Small Business Awards. I also joined one of Kirsty's workshops back in 2023, and it truly transformed the way I approached my social media, so I was desperate to get her as a guest on the show. So enough of me, let's speak to the woman herself. Kirsty, welcome to the Midlife Entrepreneur.
Thanks for having me. So exciting.
It's so exciting to have you here. I'm interested to know, where did your interest in social media originally come from, and particularly Instagram?
So I have always been an oversharer, I think. So I've always been obsessed with social media since it launched. But for me, the real moment came when the beginning of lockdown and I was renovating my house. And like loads of people, I was on a complete quest for content. I wanted ideas. I wanted 400 pictures of subway tiles for my bathroom. And I was buying all the interiors magazines, but there just wasn't enough stuff. I wanted more. So Instagram, I discovered, this was 2019, I just completely became my source of inspiration. And my background being in PR, but to me, it suddenly became clear that if I was a brand, the way to reach the end user was people weren't going to sit around and wait for a magazine for a month. They were going to be looking on their phone. So that's when I really fell in love with how Instagram could help brands and businesses.
And was Instagram the one because it was just something that you followed already and you were on it?
Yes. So I always loved Instagram personally. And so I decided to upskill, basically. I had lots of PR skills, but I didn't really understand how Instagram could be used for a business. So I trained with an organisation called Digital Mums and one called TechPixies. And we started at the beginning of lockdown and we did a 4-month course, I think it was. And there were about 200 women on this course and we were all in lockdown and we were all juggling everything else. And we studied all the different platforms. But for me, the visual side of Instagram is what I love. And I really wanted to specialise in interiors and garden accounts. And Instagram was the one I plunged for.
It's born out of a passion.
Completely, yes. I'm interiors and garden addicted. And I love sharing visuals and creativity. And so the two came together. And for me, I think when you are offering a service, when you specialise in a service, that's when the magic really happens. If you've broken your leg, you don't necessarily want to go to a GP. You go to a specialist surgeon who knows how to fix your broken leg. The same, if you want some help with Instagram, you want to go to a specialist who particularly understands your space.
Yeah, it makes complete sense. And I guess because your background is in PR, you already understood the power of marketing and communications.
Totally. So I'd spent 12 years in the city doing financial PR for a small business to start with, and we sold out to a big agency called Weber Shandwick. The skills that I picked up, looking after client management, all that kind of stuff was so vital. And I didn't think I really realised it at the time, but it's been invaluable in everything I've done now. Yeah.
And so the gap that you had in between that, what were you doing then?
So I spent 12 years in the city and was on the board when I finished. I had children, had my first daughter. And when she was 18 months old, my husband was killed in a car accident while he was abroad. So I found myself a single parent at the age of 34, and it was a very complicated process. We had sort of 10 years of trying to find out exactly what had happened to him. So we were in and out of courts and inquests, and it was very tricky. And I found myself age 34, doing a job in the city, trying to be a single parent, not really knowing how to do it. And I can remember going into a meeting, I think it was at Cazenove or somewhere, one of those big all-party meetings when you've got all the different advisors around the table. And I just thought, what am I doing here? I just don't care about this anymore. It was a real sort of Emperor's New Clothes moment. This job that I'd loved and been passionate and really involved in for 12 years. Suddenly I didn't care about it. The significance and the importance of my client's share price seemed so insignificant compared to what had happened. I resigned and left, and I did a couple of really rewarding jobs. I worked for the Teenage Cancer Trust and also for Great Ormond Street Hospital doing fundraising roles. But it was really hard juggling that with being a single parent. So I actually stopped work. I was able to stop work for a couple of years and concentrate on looking after my daughter and my son. And then at the beginning of lockdown, I really felt like my brain was leaking out of my ears. I can't really. And I think they had got a bit older and they were in full-time school, and it felt the right time to come back. But the thought of going back into the city, frankly, I just would rather have put pins in my eyes. I just thought, I can't do that. I don't know how to juggle the time. What would I do in the holidays? How would I manage? The job I'd done was very based around M&A, so the timings would have been really difficult. So that's when I decided that I needed to do something that fitted with my schedule, my kids, that I could manage. And so then, almost by accident, I started working for myself.
I'm so sorry to hear about your husband. And it would resonate with a lot of people listening that we go through these, I call them life bombs in coaching, is that we never know what's going to come around the corner. And the mental load at that point, if you've got an 18-month-year-old, you're managing a city role, you're commuting, and then you're managing grief and the challenges of trying to work out what the hell happened for 10 years. Yeah. How would you be able to manage all that?
No, it's really funny. It's so interesting. I remember after he died, about 3 months after he died, my boss, who was brilliant, a woman in the city, and she called me up and she said, Kirsty, you need to come back to work. And I was like, no, I'm just crying. I get really emotional thinking about it. I just need to be at home. I'm just so sad. And she said, you need to come back to work. And actually going back to work was really helpful because it gave me a structure and it gave me a routine. And luckily I was so well supported by friends and family. But I think the nature of the work that rewards you changes completely. It's almost like a sliding door moment that day that he died between my life before and my life afterwards. It's really different. And in some ways, now here I am 19 years on, it's a really long time ago now, I can see the silver linings. I can see these amazing things that have happened by having that big trauma. And I've also seen it in my daughter and the person she's become. She's now gone to... she is in her final year at Oxford, where he studied.
Oh, my goodness. That makes me feel emotional. Oh, my goodness.
And she said to me when she was in the sixth form, she said, right, Mummy, I'm going to try for Oxford. I was like, oh, God, okay. And we went and had a look round, and it was very full of emotion because I didn't go to Oxford, but he did. And she said, this is the college I want to go to. And lots of people are saying, try for this college. It's easier to get in. And she said, no, this is the one I want to go to. If I don't get in there, then I'll go somewhere else. Anyway, then she got in and she spent 3 years there and I feel like she's walking in his footsteps. She's had this amazing bond with him that I didn't have. She's had an experience that she shared with him that I didn't have. I still feel he's here and walking by our side, but the things that I have done since he died for both of us, it frees you a bit when you have this big trauma because nothing as bad can happen again. You're like, shit, that was really awful, and it makes you a bit fearless, I think. And I definitely, I don't know. I'd be really interested to look back. If we hadn't lost him, would I be sitting here doing this? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if I would have had the bravery, the courage, the slightly, fuck it, I'm going to do it. Yeah. If I'm allowed to swear. But
swear away.
But it definitely, and I can look back now with a lot of distance that there are silver linings to going through experiences like that. They make you a different person.
Thank you for sharing that. That's incredible. Yeah. You described that really beautifully from obviously what was such a horrifically tragic moment in your life, but it really does play into this thing that our values change throughout our life. And I think that's the point that I'm really hearing as you say that, is that what feels really important in one stage definitely doesn't.
Totally. And I literally almost had to take myself out of the city, of that environment, because I thought, I still don't care about any of this stuff that felt really important. And I think I'm maybe going to stand up in a meeting and tell them, and I need to step out before that happened. And I loved my career. I really loved it. And now I can look back and see that it's so valuable for me. It taught me so many amazing skills about managing clients, about client servicing, just so many different skills that I didn't really value until I started running my own business, actually.
Yeah, that's the really interesting part, isn't it? That all our experience never goes to waste.
No. Oh my God, it's just, and things to me, and it's really interesting working with other people in my second career. Things that feel completely natural and easy to me feel hard to people that haven't had an agency background, for example, or haven't worked with big corporates. That doesn't feel scary to me.
Yeah, and that's a really good point that you're making around acquiring new skills, is that when you're, and I'm a service too, and you're a service,
Yes.
when we're teaching people,
Yes.
it is so easy to forget because we find these things easy and
Totally.
natural and we don't have any fear.
Yeah.
And that's not true for other people.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So in between that very traumatic time and what you're doing now, you had your lovely son.
Yes.
And so you were able to build a little family regardless.
Totally, yes. Yeah, so
Amazing.
Izzy is 20, she's about to be 21, Rafi is about to be 14. And one of the greatest things, actually, of starting my own business was doing that in front of them. And I hadn't really thought about the role models. When I was growing up, I had no entrepreneurial role models in my life. And that's no criticism of people around me. I just think that was very common for lots of us. I went to university, where everybody did the milk round. We all went into big jobs in city or law. I didn't know people that started their own business, particularly women that started their own business. So I just didn't have that role model in my life. And so when I decided to launch Rebuildagram in 2020, I can remember it came about because I was doing my training and we were told to go and find a company that you could do some free social media for. Find somebody that you could just go and do a sort of audit of what they're doing. So I rang up a construction firm, building development business, who I knew, and said, can I come and audit your Instagram for you? And they were like, yeah, of course, knock yourself out. And they said, come and do a meeting. So I can remember putting a suit on for the first time, Jo, in
to a building company.
Yeah, they were a really high-end residential property development business. Building company probably doesn't do them as service. Turning over, I don't know, 20 million probably. Anyway,
wow.
So it was a really big business.
Mega bricks.
Yes, and I remember putting a suit on and saying, oh God, I've got to go. And it was like going to a pitch again, first time in hundreds of years, it felt like. And I can remember going off to the meeting and I sort of found out my old briefcase in my bag, in my cupboard, and went off to the meeting. And I remember my daughter, who must have been, she was 16 or 17. She said, Mummy, you've got this. And it was literally, I was like, God. And I thought, I really don't think I do, but thank you. Anyway, and I went and did the presentation and I thought that was the end of it. And they said, social media is so bad, you better come and do it. And I'm like, oh my God, I've actually got to do this now. So it was a really big moment that sort of, for me, it gives me such joy for my daughter to see me doing what I'm doing and my son. And obviously there are frustrations around time and the amount of time I'm glued to my phone. We all know that. But I hope I'm setting a really good example to them that if you want to do something and you're passionate about it, go for it. It's never too late. I started this at 49 and I wish I'd just done it earlier, that's all.
I'm with you on that one. And I feel the same way, but like you, I had to have a big shove off a cliff to do it because I didn't have the confidence to do it before. Or maybe I just didn't have the moment that allowed me the space to think, what do I really want?
Exactly.
And that's really critical to doing this. And then you've got all your experience, you still have fear, but I think you've got more of a fuck it attitude.
Yes.
Because you've had experience in business and you know that the worst you're going to hear is no.
Totally. And I think it's that fear thing again. So the fear of failure is so much greater in your 20s and 30s, I think. Now you're like, what's the worst can happen? Let's just try it and see what happens.
The other thing that's really important to acknowledge is that when you do decide, or if you do decide, anybody listening, to step out by yourself, if you're not going to do it, it's not going to happen.
Yes.
So there's a little bit more motivation there. The incentive is really strong.
Yes.
Because you're the only person, no one's going to bring it to you and go, hey, I've heard you've got a business with zero income. I'd love to give you loads of my business. I really have faith in you.
Totally.
You've got to go out there. And the beginning is a little bit of kind of smoke and mirrors, isn't it?
Absolutely. I spent the first year with no website. I didn't even know how to do an invoice. I mean, there's so many things I didn't know how to do. And actually, I do have to mention Tech Pixie. So that's a business founded by a brilliant woman called Joy Foster. And as part of the Tech Pixies training, they train you in all the social media platforms, but she does some life coaching through it. And I can remember ringing Joy up after the building development company had said, come and work for us. And I was like, holy shit, Joy, I've got to do this now. And she spent an hour on the phone with me and she's like, you've got this. You've absolutely got it. So, if you're not part of a kind of coaching program, I would recommend they are. And I think Jo's very good at it. Find somebody else that will just lift you up and say, come on, let's just go for it. Because I think doing it on your own is really hard.
It's really hard. And I still have moments where I sit there. Some mornings I wake up, I'm so overwhelmed by the number of things I could be doing that I then don't do anything. And I think, come on, Jo, 3 things today. Just do 3 things today.
Totally. Do you know what I've got to do? Oh my God, I don't know if I can confess to this. So now I even write lists of things that I've done so that I can take them off. Because I think
it's so satisfying to have
it. Oh my God. Because
even been to the post office.
Yes. Yes, because there's this never-ending list of stuff you can do, and you don't realise quite how much you've done.
I know, and the other thing that I really struggle with is perfectionism, and always have, probably always will, but I think it's under control. One of the things I do is I talk to myself. You said you were working till 11:30 last night. I was also working till a similar time, and at some point, I think it must have been when my daughter, who's 19, said, I'm going to bed, and I thought, Jo, this is good enough. You can stop now.
Do you know, that's so funny because last night my daughter, her boyfriend was over and they were watching Traitors or something. And about 11 o'clock, she's like, hey, Mum, don't work too long. And I was just like, oh my God, we're having mirror moments in our house. I've got this New Year's resolution now. I don't know if, I love a New Year's resolution.
Do you? Oh, see, I'm not an advocate, but let's hear it.
I love them. I really love them.
Why do you love them?
Because I can look back. I've got them going back sort of 4 or 5 years.
Oh, you write them down?
I write them down in my notes on my phone. I really love the process of it.
But do you hold yourself accountable to them?
Yes.
Okay, so you're doing them properly.
Okay, so there's some I didn't do. Last year I said I would learn 6 pieces on the piano.
Oh my goodness.
I failed on that. Okay, so I failed on that.
I'm wondering whether you'd have had time to do that.
But this year one of my resolutions is some boundaries on work. So hard. And when you work for yourself, you can just keep going. And particularly if you're a perfectionist, I am as well, there's always more I could be doing. So I am putting a boundary of 6 p.m. in the evening.
Oh, gosh, that's challenging.
Yes. So my youngest has just started weekly boarding. So suddenly I've got this freedom in my life, these hours between 4 and 9 o'clock at night that I have never had for 19 years. When you're those hours are just they feel like magic hours to get stuff done. So at the moment, between 4 and 6, I'm literally like a Trojan working. So apart from last night, which didn't go so well, because we're really in a big, really heavy work process at the moment, I'm going to try and put my phone away from 6 o'clock and my laptop and shut it and preserve some time. Because I think that the danger of leaking around the edges, sort of mission creep on all your hours, is that then you come to the work the next day and you're just shattered. Yeah. And I think that is going to help me. So that's my big mission for...
I'm going to check in with you in a few months.
Text me.
See how you're getting on with that one. As you're saying it, I'm feeling anxious.
I know.
Only because I've been editing these shows and I'm quite good generally at cutting off. I normally say 8:30. So 8:30 gives you an hour to watch a bit of TV and then I can start winding down and I've made a commitment to read before bed for half an hour.
Love that.
Just to get my brain out of tech world.
Yes, phone out of the bedroom.
Yeah, no, I haven't managed that yet. That's my next, that'll be 2026. But at the moment, I find post-supper is a really good time, but I am noticing that it creeps up towards midnight.
Very quickly, because also I think I do work really well in the evenings. My brother's, he's freelanced his whole career. He is a brilliant website designer. So he's freelanced his whole career. So when I started my own business, I did go to see him and said, how do I do this? I'm working all the hours. And he said, you have to give yourself permission. So if you do work really well till midnight, then maybe don't start till 11 o'clock the next day. Give checks and balances about how you work. And that was really nice. I really like that sort of way of thinking is, okay, if I work really well till midnight, then I'll take the morning off.
Yeah. And I, I am an early bird in the summer, and in the winter I know I'm a hibernator.
Yeah, me too.
So I really do change quite dramatically.
So that's really interesting. If you were doing a normal 9 to 5 job, you could, that flexibility wouldn't be possible. But now...
To a pattern, don't you?
Yeah.
But yeah, now it is.
Yeah.
But I think back to your point around allowing yourself, I had the same conversation with myself. I know that when you run your business, I could spend the whole of Sunday working.
Yes.
And I know, therefore, that if I take a Friday afternoon off to go and do something with my children, I don't feel guilty about it at all.
Good. Shouldn't. I think as women, we carry around so much guilt about everything. We're guilt about not being at work when we should be, not being at the family when we should be, because we've been sold this thing that we can do everything.
Well, I think, but also I think presenteeism is still a big thing at work. And I've just, funnily enough, written a quote for an article. It was in response to women not getting into senior positions because we take most of the family juggle and the mental load when it comes to family. Therefore, we're not at work as much as men physically. And even though we are mixed remote working these days, men are able to get into the office more than women.
Totally.
And my response to that was, if we can take presenteeism out of the that's what you need to do to be promoted and then just judge people on results, it levels the playing field a little bit.
And I would say, I mean, it's generalising, isn't it? So it's split women and men that way. It does feel like of all my peers, that's where the mental load, particularly as we, I think we were all losing our marbles in the run up to Christmas, weren't we?
Yeah. Juggling everything and then just drinking too much. So I just think I've just got into dry January.
Me too, I'm doing it too.
Yes, I'm not a big drinker anyway.
Yeah.
But because my kids always laugh, Mummy, you're a 2-drink drunk.
I love that.
I am a 2-drink drunk. But I definitely was socialising more, and that just makes you more and more tired.
Totally. Yeah, I was literally, but by the time we got to New Year's Eve, I was like, come on, dry January. I just don't want to. It's just, I love it. And my new thing, and it's such a cliche, so I'm afraid I've fallen for the cold water.
Oh, have you?
Oh my God, yeah. So for my birthday, it's just before Christmas, I got one of those water plunge pools. Basically, they are paddling pools for grown-ups. I mean, they're made of plastic. You blow them up. They probably cost about £5 to make, and we're all spending £100 on these things. But it's in my garden. It was about 3 degrees yesterday, and I jump in and I do 5 minutes every day.
5 minutes?
Yeah, I can do it this morning. I really wanted to because it was so frosty.
That's hardcore.
It's so amazing. I know I'm a midlife cliche, but it is. So my boyfriend got me into it about 4 or 5 months ago, cold water swimming, and we go to a place in Petersham and I love it. But I was just so addicted, I want it every day. And I go in and even if you wake up, like you've worked late till 11:30 at night, you jump in for 5 minutes. I can't tell you, I'm jumping around, leaping around, grinning, giggling after I've done it.
It does give you a dopamine hit,
Massive.
I have read.
I'm absolutely loving it.
You also have another business.
Yes.
With the lovely Andie.
Yes.
Tell me a bit about that.
So I started my business and I was consulting for about a year, and then Instagram made the biggest change it had ever done to its platform, rolled out Instagram Reels. They were looking nervously over their shoulder and saw TikTok was becoming the fastest growing social media app of all time. So they launched their version. So I started making Reels, and this was sort of August 2020, and I was spending hours, Joe, honestly. There was a Reel I made where it was a song, and I won't sing it because I'm really bad at singing it, but it goes through the colours of the rainbow. And every time it went red and yellow and green and blue, I would pull my jumper off and change into a new outfit, a whole new outfit, of red to green to blue to blah, blah, blah. Anyway, I didn't have any editing skills. I didn't know how to film, videography, anything like that. So I was figuring it out myself. Anyway, it literally took 12 hours to make. When my kids were like, can we have some lunch? I was like, no, I'm making a reel, go away. Anyway, I made this reel, went up, and it did okay. And Andie, who is my business partner now, saw it. And she used to run a wedding video business, and it went to the wall in lockdown. She'd started a Dahlia Farm business.
This is Andie McDowell.
Andie McDowell.
Yeah.
And you can find her at Dahlia Beach. Anyway, she saw this reel and was like, who's this lunatic woman? What's she doing? And how has she clearly spent hours and hours on this reel? And messaged me on Instagram. And so we met on Instagram. And she said, come and do a live with me. And I was like, oh God, I've never done a live. I don't know if I can do that. Anyway, we did a live from her greenhouse and became very firm friends. And then she said, why don't you come and host a workshop about reels? Let's do one together. And she had a big flower farm in Oxford by then and a big bright pink bus in the middle of the field.
This is another person who's pivoted their career,
Massive pivot on her career, yeah. And she is a serial entrepreneur. She's done so she was the perfect person that I could have met.
Yeah.
So we did our first workshop on this bus in this field in the rain, and we didn't have any electricity. We didn't have any Wi-Fi. We had about 12 people sitting on this bus, and she won't mind me saying it was leaky, wet, We had some slightly hopeless handouts. And we were trying to explain to people about Reels, which are little short videos. And we were basically miming them to people because we didn't have a screen. Anyway, somehow they still enjoyed the workshop and they went away and we just loved it and got on so well. So we said, let's do more of this. And then, so we started hosting in-person workshops. And then...
So when was that?
This was 2021.
Right.
So we started hosting workshops. And then people were messaging us on Instagram saying, we're in Australia, but we really want to learn how to make Reels. Can you help us? So we decided to create an online course. So we're now into our third year of running those courses, and we've had nearly 2,000 people through those courses from all over the world. We also run in-person workshops. We've also got, for people more advanced users of Instagram, we've got a membership scheme. And it's been a complete joy. And
that you've built.
It's really fun. Yeah, we really love it. And the joy of working with somebody else. So having done a year of running my own business on my own, the joy of doing it with someone else, is my best thing. It's completely my best thing.
It's on my vision board.
Do you know, I can remember we went to pitch. Did we do a pitch or we went to a meeting somewhere? I think we did a pitch for a really big corporate gig, the two of us. And it went well and we got the thing. And I remember coming off the Zoom and Andie just FaceTiming me and just going, you were so good. And I was just like, I can remember nearly bursting into tears because when we work on our own, we don't have that HR process and reviews and anybody, a line manager going, great job. And she just was like, you nailed it. And I was like, so did you. Anyway, it was a really amazing moment. And we bring such different skills. So Andie and I are really different. So she's very much, fuck it, let's do it. And I'm like, no, we've got to make it perfect. I've got to spend the next 3 months making it all amazing. We're launching it tomorrow. And I'm like, the first time we ran our course, we had, I think, 350 people coming through it. And by the time the first week launched, we hadn't written the second week yet of the course. I know, look at your face, Jo.
Do you know that actually, although I'm a little bit open-mouthed, because that would bring fear, I'd be fearful. Yeah. But actually in journalism, when you're writing features on a daily, weekly basis, It's a treadmill.
Exactly. And also, we're both suckers for a deadline, luckily. So we both work really hard and really well to a deadline. So that works really well. But we just bring really different skills. Her background is in broadcast TV. Filming and editing is in her blood. She's married to a broadcast cameraman. So she brings all of those incredible skills. She's taught me so much about filming and editing and doing it quickly and efficiently. And then my background is in PR and comms. So I think, that whole thing, you're more than the sum of your parts. I think it's good, yeah.
And you can learn off one another.
Yes. And do you know what? She just makes me roar with laughter. We just FaceTimed on the way here. And I was like walking down from Moorgate and all the big skyway buildings here in the city. And it's a real flashback for me because this is where my career started, and here I am coming back. And she was in her flower field in Oxford. Look at the two of us. It's like the country mouse and the city mouse. It's so funny. But yeah, I love that.
It's so lovely to hear that you met via a DM on Instagram.
Totally.
And I think that's the thing that I really enjoy Instagram. I feel like I've got a really friendly community. And I know a lot of people say social media is not a nice place. And I'm dabbling with TikTok, so I'm being super brave and stepping out.
Great.
No, it's a complete car crash. But you've got to start somewhere, haven't you?
Totally.
And I'm just trying it out. And I look at my daughter's TikTok and it's all very edgy and cool. And I'm there going, hi, I don't know how to use this platform and this platform. But I think I've met people through Instagram, people who've contacted me or said I really resonated with that post, or you've helped me so much. I think it's a really joyful thing. You think, okay, all that effort, thank God.
Totally. I think particularly for small businesses, Instagram is an incredible marketing platform. I've never marketed my services anywhere else. I've got email marketing and Instagram marketing are the only two channels that I use, and they've been so useful for me. Particularly as an entrepreneur, I think you're like, okay, I don't have a marketing team at my back. I've got to do this all on my own. So it is perfectly possible just to market yourself on Instagram. I really believe that. And I'd say probably 90% of the people that we work with are small businesses who are running all their finances, they're running all their marketing, they're doing all their HR, they're doing invoicing, they're doing their tax returns, they're doing everything, health and safety. So for us, it's about teaching people how to use Instagram smartly and efficiently so that it doesn't take you hours. You spending 3 hours on a reel, there isn't a good ROI on that for you.
No.
So we're teaching people, okay, how can you use this smartly, quickly, and get onto the 4 million other things. And I think you're right, social media gets such a bad press, but particularly in the small business space here in the UK, it is just full of brilliant, inspiring women who lift each other up.
Do you think it's because a lot of the people that we are interacting with are in their 40s and 50s, 60s? They weren't using social media in their younger years. They've learnt it and adopted it to support something they wanted to do, a purpose, a service, a business, a product. Do you think it's because we're grown-ups that it's a nice supportive space, or do you think it's like that for everybody?
No, I think there's lots of parts of the internet that are not fun and safe and supported, and particularly the developments over the last week with Meta's report that they're going to be ditching 40,000 fact checkers to let everybody self-regulate makes me feel concerned for the platform. But there is a safe space you can find, I think, that we're in, which is full of women lifting each other up. And I've never been trolled on Instagram. I've never had any hostile. I get lots of men in uniform sending me DMs, as I'm sure you do, offering
No, I don't. I wish I did.
Yeah, so I do get those kind of weird DMs, and you just have to put up with those. But the rest of it has been an incredible space. And I think you can do lots of things to protect your space on Instagram. You can block people if you're getting unhelpful messages. Treat people with kindness and you'll get it back, and curate the space that you're in. I think that's the secret.
That's really good advice, and I'm very much an advocate for that. I always say to my clients, if they say, I'm not really happy on Instagram, it triggers me too much, or I get really jealous of other people's success, and I always say just unfollow them then.
Totally. I totally agree with that. So two things I would say is, so I delete Instagram from my phone at the weekends because it's too tempting, and my screen hours are slightly scary during the week. So I take it off. I hide it on the back of my phone. You can take the app off the front of you, put it into the back. So I do that. So I have weekends with no Instagram. And the secondly is try not to follow too many people in your space. I think this is really important. When we get to the stage where we're consuming content too much on Instagram, consuming reels, seeing what other people are doing, you end up in a space where you're like, there's nothing else to do. Everybody's done everything. I've got no ideas. It's so demotivating and makes you so uncreative. So you will never come up with brilliant ideas for Instagram while you're looking at Instagram. You will find them when you're walking the dog, when you're swimming, when you're running, when you're, I don't know, doing the washing up. That's when the ideas will come, not when you're scrolling it. So if you're feeling 2025 is starting and you're feeling like, I've just got no ideas, I'm feeling uninspired, put your phone down and go do something else. That's when the ideas come.
Yeah, that's really important. And I do that.
Good.
I'm able to mentally check myself. If I come across a post of somebody who is in a similar field to me and it makes me emotionally feel something, probably jealousy.
Yeah.
I'll just ask myself, what's going on there, Joe?
So good.
And I always answer, that's because you want that.
Yeah.
And then I go, well, good for her.
Yes. Yes, yes, yes.
What can I learn from the post I've just seen?
Totally.
And then I'll go and jot down, okay, the lighting was amazing, the background was great, what she said was short and succinct. There was a really good hook.
Yeah.
You keep telling me that, and I'm still really bad at hooks. And it really has changed my mindset around seeing other people's success.
Totally. It's really good. And in fact, when I first started, there were 3 or 4 Instagram coaches who do very similar things to what I do. And actually, we used to go live once a month, and quite often we'll refer work to each other. Your competition doesn't have to be your competition. They can also be your collaboration partners. So I've got a really nice gang of people who do what I do. We have a WhatsApp group. We share ideas. We pass work backwards and forwards to each other. If people aren't doing that, that's a really nice step forward.
Yeah, I love that. That's a great piece of advice.
Okay, good.
We're going to take that into the notes. Have there been any particular pinch me moments?
Oh, God, there have been lots of pinch me moments. I think the first one probably was winning Tech Pixie's Social Media Provider of the Year, 23-24. I couldn't really quite believe it. This company that I trained with, and then to win that award was a real... I think sometimes you need those moments to stop and look and see where you've come. And then our Reels Rockstars business was shortlisted for a Small Business Service of the Year last year. And that was, Andie and I were sitting at the awards ceremony thinking we didn't win, but just to be in that room and in that space was really amazing. So yeah, those have been a really big pinch me moments. So yeah, and I think when you're running your own business, you do have to stop and look and go, God, I really didn't know what I was doing at the beginning, and I think I do now.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And I always think it's important to audit what success looks like. So for you at this point in your life, your career, what does success look like?
So the funny thing is that I think I'm more ambitious than I thought I was. So the difference between working for somebody else and working for yourself is that when the money first starts coming in, it's extraordinarily exciting for something that you've created that didn't exist 4 years ago. To look at something that's supporting our family now is really rewarding, and I feel very proud of that. But that sits very strongly alongside being able to do what I want to look after my children at the same time. So I'm doing a job that allows me, by working very hard, to support my family, but also to be able to go to sports day, to be able to pick up my daughter from university, to go to the play. And those things are as important. I'm really lucky to be able to say that, as important as the financial side of it.
Yeah, that's really lovely. So if we're looking into the future, if we have a little kind of looking glass and we could see your business in a few years' time, what would you like it to look like?
My kids are really funny. So my business is called Rebuildagram, and they've said to me, at what stage do you become Rebuildagram? Slightly fills me with horror. So I don't really know whether in fact, I was talking about this with Andie yesterday. In 10 years' time, will I still be dancing around and clicking my fingers and changing outfits on Instagram in 10 years' time? I don't know. Do you know what? It keeps me young, what I'm doing. I just absolutely love it. So I would like to be doing more of the same in 10 years' time, and maybe instead of 2,000 people, we've trained 200,000 people. That would be nice.
Wow, that would be amazing.
Yeah,
What a stat to reach.
Yeah, it would be nice, wouldn't it? Yeah.
So if I came along and offered you a PAYE job now, would you take it?
Never in a million years. Never in a million years.
That's what we want to hear. That's what we want to hear. It's so great. Thank you so much, by the way, for sharing so many amazing stories and for being vulnerable and open and honest. And I think it will resonate with so many listeners who have gone through their own challenges, because there are so many reasons why people start a business at midlife. And often it's a catalyst.
Yeah.
There's been a catalyst of some sort that has said to them, you need to re-look at your life.
Yeah.
And yes, it gives you an injection of courage for some reason when we're standing on the edge of a cliff. But it's also that incredible moment of probably this desire to do something has been there forever.
Yeah. The one thing I wish is I'd done it earlier. It took me until I was 49 to launch on my own, and I look back, I love my career in the city, but there was a bit of me there was a creativity side of it that was missing. When it came to the presentations, we were doing presentations for big city investor rounds. I'd be like, can I help with it? I really love this. I could see that's the bit I really loved, but it took me until I was 49 to do it. And God, I wish I'd done it earlier, 20 years earlier. But we're making up for lost time.
With hindsight. Yeah. And we have to remember that at midlife, so if we're saying midlife is around 45, you've probably got the same number of career years ahead of you.
Wow. Oh my God, I hadn't thought about that. Love that.
But you've got all the experience.
Yes.
But how beautiful is that?
I love that. I hadn't really thought about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The only thing we don't have masses of is energy. So I think that's the thing we have to manage.
Yeah. Yeah. But I think you're quite quick. I'm very quick at what I do now. That's the good.
Yeah, you know what? I did your course. I mentioned it in the introduction. And what was really great about it, was to be taught some new tricks and some ideas and to get the little injection of confidence and all of that. But what I've learned from it is that once you've really found your way around the app, whether it is Reels and now I'm trying TikTok, first of all, it just becomes really intuitive. But secondly, I really enjoy creating my Reels. And so for me, it doesn't really feel like, it's almost like a treat at the end of the day.
Great. Oh my God, that makes me so happy.
Yeah.
So when we teach people, I think as women, we're very judgmental about ourselves, more judgmental about ourselves than anybody else. So seeing ourselves on camera or hearing our voices, it's really hard. And actually what we try to do mainly is help people get out of their own way, to help them say, okay, maybe I don't look as perfect as I want to be, but it doesn't matter. Because what really works on Instagram is authentically telling your story. And for the small businesses that we work with, they don't have a big marketing budget, but they have their story. Your story is what works, and that's what helps people want to come and buy from you. So if we can give them the tools to say, okay, we can teach you how in half an hour to make a reel that tells your story, that is your superpower. And we're giving you those skills to go and tell your story on Instagram. And particularly this year in 2025, perfect, beautifully filmed, manicured reels isn't what connects with your audience. It's being a little bit vulnerable, showing up and saying, hi, here I am. This is my business. If you come and buy from me, it will mean so much, or you work with me. So that's what we try to help people do.
Yeah. And I have to say, The reels where I haven't overthought it,
Yes.
always do the best.
Hooray, always.
And the ones where I don't look. I do often post having been for a run or sitting in the park,
Yes.
greasy hair, no makeup, but something's come up that I think is important to share. And I try to motivate people. That's what I'm trying to do. And they do really well. And then the ones where I've tried to put the perfect lighting and I've washed my hair, and those are the ones that don't tend to resonate.
Exactly. Take people on your journey. That was my biggest tip. If you are running a small business and you are trying to promote it on Instagram, tell your story, take people on the journey, explain what's going on, share the ups and the downs with them, because we don't want to follow perfect people. We want to follow real people.
And that's a brilliant place for us to segue into. I'm going to ask you for a little bit more of your advice, really.
Okay.
It's things that you've learned and things that we can pass on to the listeners.
Okay.
So 3 things you've invested in that have been worth every penny.
Okay, so absolutely it's people. So I think the real temptation when you start is that, particularly when you're starting to earn money, is every penny counts. And so you try and figure everything out yourself. You're doing an amazing job learning how to make podcasts. Amazing. My big learning, and it took me a while to do this, was I've got to hire people that are really brilliant, because there are lots of things that just not good use of my time to try and figure out how to do this stuff, because it's going to take me too long and I'm probably not going to do it very well. So we have got an amazing team of virtual PAs that we've never met in real life. They are incredible. They manage lots of the stuff. They manage our email systems. They manage lots of the back end of our websites. We had amazing website developers. We've got an amazing community manager. People that are absolutely critical to our business now. So that would be my first thing is...
How did you find those virtual PAs?
Word of mouth. Oh. So our virtual PAs came through Sophie Robinson. Sophie Robinson is she's interior designer, entrepreneur, telepresenter. And we reached out to her when we were at crisis point. And she said, yeah, I've got this brilliant team. So word of mouth, go and ask people. So they were incredible. We've also got amazing bookkeepers, website people, aren't just people. The second thing is some tech that has really helped me is, we were talking about this earlier, Canva. Oh my God. If you are a small business person, Canva, I probably spend more time with Canva than I do with my children. Literally, we use it for everything in our business. ChatGPT, literally a lifesaver for us.
Every day.
It's
my search engine now as well.
Good. Okay. And so you said to me you were struggling with hooks for your reels.
Yes.
So we just shared we did a big free webinar yesterday, and we've got another one coming out today. And one of the main ways we use ChatGPT is to help create hooks for our reels. So we sent out a prompt yesterday, which you can put into ChatGPT, and it will come up with 99 hooks for your reel specific to your business.
Wow.
You don't have to think about it.
Okay. I might need to nab that off you.
What have I got? It was investing in people,
tech.
And my third thing is my cold water plunge pod. Oh my God.
Oh gosh, we're going to go there. We're going to go there.
It's my £100. My mum bought it for me, but so maybe it was an investment from somebody else, but it's the best thing. Yeah, it's game changing for me. Plunging every morning.
Oh, I know I'm going to I did go in the sea at Christmas in Cornwall.
Good. Okay, that's it.
It was 8 degrees.
And did you like it?
Yeah, it was absolutely amazing, but it was like walking into fire. It was
for the first minute, like needles in your skin.
Yeah, and actually my daughter was a lot braver. She went completely under.
Amazing.
I went in up to my shoulders, and that was enough, and then I could have my hot chocolate and brandy.
Okay, good.
2 things you wish you could have done differently.
So I've just got one. Start earlier. Start before you're ready. Start when you haven't got all your ducks in a row. Just go for it. That would be my... And I'm lucky I've got a business partner that encouraged me to go for it earlier. But just start before you're ready.
I think that's really good advice. And actually, with this podcast, for example,
yes,
I'm trying to perfect it because I'm a perfectionist. But my version of perfect is probably somebody else's. This is ridiculous. So I talk to myself. I literally give myself a good talking to and say, Joe, this is the first season. It's going to be gritty.
Yes.
It's going to be messy. The sound is going to be all over the place. And it is, by the way. But just do it.
Doesn't matter.
No
one's going to notice apart from you. So yeah, start early.
And I suppose our fear is always what other people think.
Totally.
And I'm over that now.
Good.
One person you'd like to thank, ideally not a family member.
Oh, so I can't do family and friends who have just put up with a lot.
Only because I presume that they are the most important people in your life.
Yes, my amazing family, my amazing boyfriend, my amazing friends. So I'm going to thank my business partner, Andie. So every day we laugh and cry, and she lifts me up. I hope I lift her up, but doing it with somebody else has been completely game-changing for me, and somebody that I've only met because of this business, and she is, she'll be a friend forever. So yeah, that's a big thank you. Thank you, Andie.
Oh, thank you, Andie. And hopefully you'll come on the show at some point too.
Yes, you will.
Kirsty, it's been such an amazing conversation. Thank you so much for sharing so much.
I think what you're doing is brilliant, and just honestly lifting other people up is exactly what we should be doing.
And it makes us all feel so good, right?
Yes, yeah.
Thank you.
Brilliant.
Thanks for being on the Midlife Entrepreneur.
Oh, my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Thanks so much for tuning into the show. And if you've enjoyed this episode, don't forget to click follow on your favourite podcast platform and leave a review. It really helps us reach more listeners just like you. Finally, if you're a midlife entrepreneur with an interesting story to share or would like to nominate a guest, you can do so via my email. It's inquiries@joeglynnsmith.com. All information will be in the show notes. See you next time.